Today, I'm going to discuss once again professional practice, the difference between architecture and civil engineering. Architect means chief builder, buildings, and habitable development that dominantly require architecture and planning. So this is under architecture. While for civil engineering works, they cover transport and public utilities that dominantly require engineering works. Their differences does not only focus on their scopes in design and construction of building, nor based on principle of design. They are differentiated by products and structure categories that need most their expertise. They both design, analyze, calculate, draw, and plan. They both use scientific and artistic skills to design their respective category of projects. They can only work together in any of the types of large projects where the basic professionals of the project stands as prime professional and differentiated by skills and principle as what we commonly think in general. According to Jackie Craven, architecture can have many meanings. Architecture can be art and science, a process and a result that both an idea and a reality. People often use the word architecture and design interchangeably, which naturally broadens the definition of architecture. If you can design your own career goals, aren't you the architect of your own life? It seems that there are no easy answer. So let's explore and debate the many definitions of architecture, design, and what architects and social scientists call the built environment. Frank Lloyd Wright, year 1867 till 1959, claimed that this artistry and beauty can only come from the human spirit. Mere building may not know spirit at all. Wright wrote in 1937, and it is well to say that the spirit of the thing is the essential life of that thing because it is truth. To Wright's thinking, a beaver dam, a beehive, and a bird's nest may be a beautiful lower form of architecture, but the great fact in this architecture is simply a higher type and expression of nature by way of human nature where human beings are concerned. The spirit of man enters into all, making the whole a godlike reflection of himself as creator. Charles Edward Jenneret, Greece, known as Le Corbusier, is an architect, theorist, urban planner, space designer, painter, sculptor, and man of letters who declared that architecture is the starting point of anyone who wants to take humanity towards a better future. Architecture depends on order, arrangement, eurythmics, symmetry, proprietary, and economy. All of this must be built with due reference to durability, convenience, and beauty. The three basic principles in architecture, Venustas, Firmitas, and Utilitas. According to Marcus Vitruvius, the scope of architecture is very broad. It is not simply about the concrete building itself, but it is more about the process behind the beautiful and successful structure that cater mostly human beings. The process alone requires a lot of time and, most important, critical thinking. According to Charles Eames, recognizing the need is the primary condition for design, which means a lot to his profession. If an architect is knowledgeable about the client's needs, it would be easier for a designer to lay out the plan. If not, for the familiarity of the needs, the project would be of no use to the client. For instance, the client would like to have a prep school, yet he or she did not inform the architect that it would be a preparatory school. Furthermore, the school that will be designed will contain measures of standard anthropometrics instead of standard young and small children. Moreover, the initial design would go to waste because of lacking information. Built environment. The built environment has the capacity to move and affect us deeply. The built environment has a strong impact on both human and environmental health. Buildings and infrastructure surrounding them consume great quantities of material and energy during construction, operations, and eventual deconstruction of at the end of the building. Architecture is generally conceived, designed, and realized, but in response to an existing set of conditions, may be purely functional in nature, or they may also perfect in varying degrees in social, political, and economic climate. In any case, it is assumed that the existing set of conditions, the problem is less than satisfactory, and thus the new set of conditions. A solution would be desirable. The act of creating architecture then is a problem solving or design process. Architecture may vary to some degree, such as social, political, and climatic. Social architecture has persisted as one of the most profoundly important reflections of culture because of the structures they made. Political architecture is not only classified as describing the elegant and formal preferences of an architect, but also can reveal the power, struggles, and hopes, elements, culture of the society. It can be certainly maintained that using architecture as a major tool to symbolize power and authority. Architecture support the system with a structural model which is used by the social to conceptualize the world, which makes it connected with political power, as said by Michel Kapoor. Architecture is politics, as architecture can control the way we understand the world. Between the monument and political power can be seen. Architecture gives us choice to visualize mentally and support societies to create systems that can be seen, social, cultural, traditions, and practices. Example, the Arc de Triomphe in the year 1806 started to be built by Napoleon the Great in 1806, but not finished until 1836. Climatic. When an engineer designs a machine, a bridge, or a regulator, each line in his drawing is the result of great accumulations of law and principles from a dozen different mechanical sciences. He designs the machine to withstand a certain amount to strain to do a particular job. Climate, in particular, produces certain easily observed effects on architectural forms. For example, the proportion of window area to wall area becomes less as one moves towards the equator. In warm areas, people shun the glare and heat of the sun, as demonstrated by the decreasing size of the windows. In the subtropical zone, more changes in architecture form occur to meet the problem caused by excessive heat in hotter climate countries. Deep loggias, projecting balconies and overhangs, casting long shadows on building wall to use as shading device. Good buildings don't just happen overnight. They are planned, studied, performed, and look good to the people. Good architects with a good client is joined and with a cooperative effort, programming the requirements of a proposed building is architect's first task. Few underlying principles of programming are to establish goals, collect and analyze facts, uncover and test concepts, determine the needs, state the problem. Architectural programming involves an organized method of inquiry, interaction with four considerations: form, function, economy, and time. Programming is a process. According to Webster, the process leading to the statement of an architectural problem and the requirement to be met in offering a solution. Architecture generally is the art and science of how structures are built. However, when it comes to specific details on what, how, and why structures are what they are now, many factors are put into considerations. Example, the geometry, geology, climate, site location, users, etc. Aside from functions, the design serves as a way of how the architect wants to express himself through various styles or techniques. Most importantly, the design should satisfy its users considering its function. The characteristics that distinguish a work of architecture from other built structures are sustainability or suitability of work to use by human beings in general and the adaptability to it to particular human activities. The stability and performance of uh, the works, construction, and communication of experience and ideas as through its form. A contemporary architect may say that the object or system under construction must have the following characteristics. It has the functionality required by the customer. It is safely buildable on the required schedule. It performs adequately. It is reliable. It is usable and safe to use. It is secured. It is affordable. It conforms to legal standards. It will outlast its predecessors and its competitors. Each structure is intended to help the architect understand how to satisfy particularly concerns such as changeability or performance. The job of demonstrating that the particular concerns are satisfied may fall to others. But the architect must be able to demonstrate that all concerns have been met for over decades of research in architecture. Field questions are still left unanswered. How do buildings affect us? How do we conceptualize and perceive drawings? Interrelationships between people and the built environment. There are about 13 different psychological perspectives, namely environmental stimulus or stimuli, perception, cognition, arousal, personal space, territoriality, personalization, density, behavior setting and staffing, environmental stress, privacy, environmental programming, and post occupancy evaluation. Architecture considers the habitant's needs in designing and building structures. Involves anthropology, function, follows form, but most of the time, and what is advisable is form follows function to accommodate the needs of immediate users. Environmental design is the ordering of the physical environment by means of architecture, engineering, construction, landscape architecture, urban design, and city planning. Sociology, the science of human social institutions and relationships. The study of the origin, development, structure, functioning, and collective behavior of organized group of human beings. Anthropology is the science of human beings, specific, the study of the origins, physical and cultural development, and environmental and social relations of humankind. Social conditions architecture, because it is the most permanent and cumulative, reflects the social structure of the period in which it is developed, and interests of the people dictate the type and appearance of its building stable government and improve social condition. Eliminate the necessary or the necessity of many protective features such as high fences, shutters, wrought iron, or steel railings for doors and windows. Broken glass and barbed wire on top of fences, comfort and convenience now, control architecture. Example, periods, the different architectural characters in the different period of architecture is shown in the interest of man at that time shown in the building. In social structure has become so complex that confusion rather than simplicity is its chief characteristics. Man's personality by his appearance. Something is known of his interests from the type of house in which he lives. Possible to trace a comparison between the personality of a nation as reflected in its clothing and its attitude toward architecture as seen in the buildings and clothes give an indication of the simplicity of complexity of the existing or existence of its inhabitants, which in turn controls the development of its architecture. This ends my report.